Arnold, and I am a UX design student presenting my final portfolio for DIY Pro. This is an app that aims to connect its users with experienced home renovation professionals that can offer them guidance in their projects by accepting virtual calls and discussing plans and improvements that users can make through mentorship. So to begin our portfolio, we have our table of contents here. My problem statement is that these users needed a way to connect with these experienced professionals because they're taking on complex projects of their own and they need professional advice that they might not be able to get through YouTube tutorials or articles, and instead are looking for a more tailored experience to what their actual project is. So through my first round of user research, I pretty much discovered that most people that were involved in projects like these found them to be very expensive and time consuming, so they weren't often looking for professional help from contractors to actually have the contractors do the work themselves. They were trying to complete it on their own budget, and this led to mostly difficulties in finding the exact sort of advice that they needed to complete these specific projects. Their research wasn't leading them to the right answers, and they wanted a more streamlined approach that they could get from some experienced professional directly. So from there, we created a user persona about a couple different folks, but one of them being a young parent who is working a full-time job but has summers off as they're a teacher, and they're renting out a house that they live in and have purchased a fixer-upper and are trying to complete the renovations themselves in a short 3-month span when they're not working. So based on all that information, we kind of developed this persona and task flow for how they would actually find the information that they're looking for to be able to complete these projects. So we created user flows based on what they would actually be looking for in the app, how they could find it the best, and find an experienced professional that would be able to help them solve their issue. So there's a lot of different flows that we had to go through creating our sitemap, but ultimately it came down to the most important thing, being able to connect users to live video feeds of the experienced professionals. So we created some basic screens to start for the wireframes, very mid-fidelity at this stage of how the user would actually find and discover these professionals and then interact with them as well. Led us to a little bit higher fidelity wireframes, which we were then able to collaborate with other designers and revise to make them a little bit higher fidelity, closer to a prototype that actually had digital implementation of its features. And from there, made some more slight revisions about what the screens and such looked like, established a color profile, some typography, and all of those details to how it would look when passing off all the information to developers. But ultimately, we want this to be a very friendly brand for professional or people seeking professional advice. We wanted it to feel like they were doing it themselves, but by taking on these sorts of projects and reaching out to people who had more experience. But ultimately, it came down to them feeling like they were the ones in control and they were the ones managing their own projects and futures for what they wanted out of the app. So from there, the last few questions I guess that we have here for the portfolio review would say for the first one, which is, have you ever given feedback on someone else's designs before and received your own feedback? I haven't given feedback on somebody else's designs before. Didn't quite find the time to reach out to anybody on Slack, but I have received feedback on my own. I have two friends that are professional UX designers already, so I was able to talk to them. They live in Charleston and Nashville, so through them I was able to get a little bit more professional feedback, as well as just users that I tested with these higher fidelity prototypes as well. But no one else in the Career Foundry or professional settings have I gotten any feedback or given any to. I would say teammates would describe me professionally as someone who's friendly, organized, somebody who's trying to do things themselves, but also willing to collaborate to find the best solution to fix problems. I'm definitely always looking for ways to improve workflows, and whether that's through my own ideas or implementing somebody else's better idea and making it widely known to everyone that I'm working with. I would say I'm mostly just trying to make the job as easy and fun and convenient as possible for myself, my coworkers, and for any customers out there that we are, serving with our products or services. Tell me about a difficult project where you overcame a challenge. I think this entire project has been a little bit difficult for me. I don't know if I'm necessarily overcoming it other than just putting in the work and delivering the project here towards the end. I definitely think that through the course of this, I've kind of discovered that I don't have as much of an interest in UX design as I initially thought. I do really enjoy, talking to people, working through solutions, solving problems, and in terms of UI design, I definitely enjoy design. I have a small background in graphic design that I'm expanding upon, and though it can sometimes be a little bit time consuming and a little bit monotonous, I do think it's enjoyable to draw and illustrate and kind of merge ideas together in a way that UI and UX, I quite haven't found that same passion there yet. So I think I'm kind of overcoming just a negative mindset, maybe where it doesn't feel like it's personally for me, but something that I can hopefully add to my skill set and improve upon because of its desirability, and potentially that will lead me towards something in design, and technology that I might be a little bit better suited at. The last question is, think of a question you could ask the interviewer. For instance, this could be something about the organization's culture, flow, or a question about a product. Culture is probably the most important thing to me about an organization. I've worked for a lot of companies, from corporate to small businesses, and I think I definitely prefer small business culture a lot more than corporate culture. But I do, enjoy working for local companies. I work for a local brewery now that is quite large and successful, but it still offers me the opportunity to actually interact with people on a daily basis. So I think that would be most important for me is how important is communication in this company? How organized are you? And in terms of meeting the needs of your customers, but also your staff, what do you do to play to their strengths and to communicate what they could improve upon? So that's pretty much all I have for here now. It was nice sharing this with you, and I hope you enjoyed what I had to present.